All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We're going to begin the naval news segment now. Today, we begin with the Fleet Tracker. That's right, the Fleet Tracker. We're going to talk about where our American fleets are around the globe right now, beginning with the Essex, Harry S. Truman off the coast of Virginia. Iwo Jima has gone through the Straits of Hormuz and is now in the Persian Gulf, with the Ronald Reagan continuing to operate in the Arabian Gulf, supporting the evacuation of Kabul. The American Amphibious Ready Group is there in Guam, or looks like the Philippine Sea. Guam is kind of down here, so they might be at sea. And the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group has finally made it to Japan after a 2-week transit across the Pacific. Yeah, again, gives you an idea of how big the Pacific is. It's a monstrous body of water to cross. So out of our 296 active duty warships, only 88 are underway right now. That's total. That's including submarines, ships not in fleets. Yeah. So most of our Navy, a lot of our Navy is in port right now. Let's begin in the North Arabian Sea here. The Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group, as I said, is in the northern part of the Arabian Sea with guided missile cruisers Shiloh and USS Halsey. They've been there since June 25th now, so going on over 2 months on station. Very common to be on station for that long. Even submarines can be on station for that long. And then they still have to transit halfway around the world to get back home again. The carrier is in position to support the Afghani operations. When aircraft launch from the carrier of Northern Arabian Sea, they conduct their air-to-air refueling through Pakistani airspace. They refuel again over Afghanistan, and then they tank again coming home over Afghani airspace, and then they land on the carrier. Those are extremely long flights to a country that's over 400 miles inland. So it's 400 plus miles there, 400 plus miles back, plus time on station, which is going to be 4-6 hours, however long. So very grueling flights for the crews here. Because keep in mind, the air crew isn't just the crew on board the plane; it's the flight deck crew as well that has to get them off the deck and prepare to receive them whenever they get back. Some 12 hours later. Crazy long days. All right, so here in board the aircraft carrier, we have Information Systems Technician, second class, Victoria Leon, patches cables aboard USS aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan. I don't recognize the gear that she's operating, so something new and fancy looks like. But one thing I did like about this picture, look at her glasses. Those are not Navy issue. If she's on watch, she should not be wearing those, but nobody enforces that, so I kind of get it. All right, Carrier Air Wing 5 is on the Ronald Reagan. We've talked about them a lot. Last week we covered each one of these, so we won't rehash that. But if you have a loved one assigned to Carrier Air Wing 5, they're still doing their job over there, and they're doing it well. All right, here's the cruisers on Destroyer Squadron 15. This is the Shiloh. Sonar Technician, second class, Brennan Graham. What's funny is since we've started doing these streams back in 2017, we've had some viewers join the Navy and become sonar techs, one of which is assigned out of Japan on a destroyer. So I imagined for a minute that this could have been him, but I don't recognize the name, so I don't think that it was. Anyway, so Petty Officer Graham here is preparing to launch air slugs, not water slugs, air slugs from a torpedo tube on guided missile cruiser Halsey, DDG-97, in the Arabian Sea. And here you can see this is the top of the torpedo tube. These are 3 40-centimeter torpedo tubes stacked in like a pyramid, 2 on the bottom and 1 in the middle on top. And then he's connecting this torpedo presetter test set to that. He's going to fool the mechanism into thinking it actually has a weapon on board, so it fires the air slug. That's what this is. Something to note here is look at this gasket, how it's all kind of stretched out of here. The rubber still looks good, so it may work, may maintain a watertight seal. But if I was this petty officer, I'd be like, time to replace this gasket. There's also a lot of rust and corrosion, so it's clear that water has gotten into this. I wonder if this torpedo presetter, instead of for firing the air slug, as it says, may be testing, because if water got in here and shorted out these connections, this thing may not work. Maybe it didn't work, and they fixed it because it had water damage, and this is part of the test. after they fix it. Now I'm kind of creating a story around this picture, but that's what I can glean from my experience in the Navy, testing equipment like this. We never tested a torpedo tube as a sonarman, but we've done a lot of testing with test sets like this, even on submarines. Yep. In the Persian Gulf, oh, look at this Harrier. It's got this big old thing on it here. Look at that. That should make John happy. Look at the size of that thing. Very firm. This is a AV-8B Harrier attached to the Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron VMM 162 reinforced. Takes off from flight deck of a Wasp amphibious assault class Iwo Jima. So Iwo Jima is in the Persian Gulf now. Let's see what it says here. The Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group and the 24th Expeditionary Unit are now back in the Persian Gulf. This places the ARG Marine Expeditionary Unit in position to provide additional reinforcement of the Marine Corps Special Forces Task Force contingency response in Kuwait. Most of the 24th MU Battalion landing team and Combat Logistical Battalion are already ashore, I guess, in Kuwait. But the bulk of the aviation units remain on board ships, which would make sense. No sense taking them off the ship. Brigadier General Peter Huntley, Director of Operations at the Marine Corps Headquarters, told reporters during a media call Thursday afternoon that the Marines are also participating in part of the perimeter security at the airport. They're talking about Kabul Airport, which is currently being evacuated so far at time of this recording since the beginning of the evacuation of civilians from Kabul just a few days ago. We've brought over 70,000 civilians to the United States. So it's a great success, in my opinion, so far. And the operations continue right now, bringing more and more of these civilians every day. And these civilians are leaving for a number of reasons, a lot of which these are family members of people who have assisted the United States in the past 20 years with translation. Some people served, side by side with our soldiers, and they feel as if their family is at risk of retribution from the incoming Taliban power. And rightly so. History with the Taliban points to them being violent in the past. And so they have every right to be allowed asylum in the United States for their service with the United States soldiers. So very happy to see so many civilians, women and children and fighting age men who have helped us come to the United States. I think this is a very good call. And we've already got 70,000 and that just continues. It says on Saturday, there were 5,800 U.S. troops in Kabul as part of an unnamed non-combat evacuation operation that was put into effect, Pentagon officials say. They are being commanded and controlled by Joint Task Force Crisis Response, which I based around the Task Force 515, Huntley said. Task Force 515, which falls under the Military Corps Forces Central Command, is headquarters in Bahrain, which is right there in the Persian Gulf. So very cool, saving a lot of lives, bringing a lot of people to the United States. Very good. The 24th MEU, specifically within the Combat Logistics Battalion, is equipped and prepared to provide frontline medical, surgical, and trauma care. Most of those capabilities are now on the ground in Afghanistan. Great. So they can provide care right there at the airfield if they need to. Here's a Marine assigned to the 24th Expeditionary Unit provides overwatch during the evacuation of Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. I bet you they changed the name of that airport. I bet you September 1st, that airport gets a new name. Yeah, because this is the old president, the one that had been taking American money for 20 years or more, even before we got there. Anyway, he says there's a pretty strong capability of providing that combat stabilization is a Marine and soldier or anybody else is seriously hurt. But they are helping. They are finding individuals who are among those who need some form of medical help, and they're aiding in that. The Marine element that are on the ground have brought ashore some organic medical capabilities, which are pretty significant, actually. And of course, they're an expeditionary in nature, so they're just living like Marines are, like the Marines they are. So in other words, the Marines went to the airfield a few days ago, maybe a week now, with days of food, MREs, water, changes of clothes, enough to sustain themselves without external logistics coming in and dropping off supplies regularly. It's almost as if they're deployed in the field, because they are, supporting the evacuation from the airport. a mission well executed so far, in my opinion. All right. I love this picture here because retail specialist seaman Jeffrey Salgado, the guy on the left, and fire controlman second class Preston Short, rather, both assigned to the Harper's Ferry dry dock landing group, man a 50 caliber machine gun during a sea and anchor evolution. So what I did not know, but it makes sense to me after reading this, is that you can join the Navy and work retail. Yeah, you can run the little shops that sell the cigarettes and candy bars on board ships. And apparently they have such a demand for that they made it their own rate. Retail specialist. Now, I wonder what kind of rating exam questions these young sailors get to be promoted from, say, third class to second class. Do they need to know anything about economics or stocking shelves? Can you imagine working at a grocery store and every 6 months you have to take a written exam to determine if you can be promoted to cashier or assistant manager? Yeah. So you can join the Navy and work retail. I find that amusing, and I can't tell you why. I just do. You get out of a retail job and you're into a retail job. I'll tell you what, these retail specialists get paid more than minimum wage. So in that case, they're doing pretty good for themselves. The Wasp-class amphibious assault ship Iwo Jima, Harper's Ferry landing dock ship, and Carter Hall and amphibious dock ship San Antonio are making an detachment of the Iwo Jima ARG. They're in the Persian Gulf. It looks like somebody, where did they pull in? Did they say the port here? No. Okay, that's smart. Probably Bahrain, but we'll see. The Western Pacific is going to a new ship here. This is Aviation Bosun's Mate, third class Raul Santoyo. That's a cool name. From Houston, inspects a pressure gauge in the flight line aboard Nimitz-class aircraft carrier Carl Vinson. Those are the guys that have been transiting across the Pacific for the past 2 weeks to get to Japan. The Carl Vinson Strike Carrier Group deployed on August 2nd. Oh, but they did some workup. Yeah, that's why it's been... Yeah, they deployed 4 weeks ago, but they spent 2 weeks off the coast of San Diego doing workup. Anyway, is in the Western Pacific now, operating with the U.S. 7th Fleet. This is the first U.S. Navy deployment for the F-35C Lightning II fighters. And there is a F-18 there. He's got... This is full flaps. I don't know why this one's at half flap, and I think it's because he's got more weight on the right wing than he does on the left. So he's at full flap, and then he's at half flap here, which is weird. This must be a trim setting or something. Anyway, the F-18 Super Hornet assigned to the bounty hunters. Anybody from the 104th would know why this is at half flap, and I think it's because of this bomb right here. Anyway, so the Super Hornet assigned to the bounty hunters. Strike Fighter Squadron 2 launches a flight off the flight deck of the Nimitz class USS Carl Vinson. This is on August 15th. So that was like a week ago. And here are all the people assigned to them. The Black Knights, the Blue Hawks, the Gauntlets, the Stingers, the Bounty Hunters. Good stuff. They're with cruiser Lake Champlain out of San Diego. So as a member of the destroyer, Chief Information Systems Technician Chan Wen left the native of Santa Clara. Oh, he's a native of Santa Clara, California. That's not very far from San Diego. Performed striking techniques with a baton after being sprayed with Caspium spray. That's like pepper spray, but it's military grade pepper spray. That's not the stuff the police tease you with when they try to get the knife out of your hands. This stuff will put you on your ass. I've been sprayed with this for my security training. It sucks. Yeah, that guy, he can't see right now. He's swinging like he's, at a baseball game just trying to hit something. In his own defense there. Looks like he's doing a good job too. See, the destroyers based out of San Diego but are embarked are the Dewey, the Kane, the Murphy, the Chaffee, and the Stockdale. This is a lot of firepower. We are not messing around in the Pacific, ladies and gentlemen. This is a lot of firepower with a very capable aircraft carrier. The UK Royal Navy Strike Group is there, led by HMS Queen Elizabeth, is operating with the American Amphibious Ready Group, 31st Marine Corps Expeditionary Unit. There's a lot of Marines at sea right now, or deployed, I should say. Some of them are in port, like Bahrain and Kuwait. LSGE-21, a global command and control exercise with regional focus to enhance integration between U.S. and its allied partners in the Indo-Pacific, with many operations activities nested in the LSG umbrella. So we do have some people in the Atlantic that are conducting operations under this umbrella. And what they're trying to do is they're practicing coordinating global operations. Coordinating that at a very high level is difficult to do. It needs to be practiced so we can see if there's any shortcomings in our systems. And when we identify those shortcomings, then we can fix them. But the way we do that is by having these large global command and control exercises like what's going on right now. And we're integrating the Queen Elizabeth group into that. Oh, look at this plane. It's beautiful. God, it's a good looking plane. I want this picture. This is the F-35B Lightning II pilot prepared to take off from the Queen Elizabeth. Man, give me a moment. I'm going to need a secret moment with this plane right here. Okay. I'm good. Yep. I'm a 2-minute man with that. Yeah. All right. U.S. carrier group includes Type 23 anti-submarine frigate Richmond, the Diamond, the Sullivans. So between the destroyers that are with the Carl Vinson and the destroyers that are with the HMS Queen Elizabeth, rather, we have a lot of firepower at sea in a very small region all around the Pacific Rim. A real show of force. And I'm glad we're doing that too. In the Eastern Pacific, so that's going to be off the coast of San Diego, Marine Corps Private First Class David Medina, light armored vehicle crewman. What's he doing here? Post security during area clearing training. Oh, yeah. A few times in my career, we got to practice this stuff. We would run drills like weekly onboard submarine security drills where we would run around the submarine with pistols from the armory, but they would be unloaded, of course. We wouldn't even have magazines. And but never got to do that. That'd be cool. Okay, in the Western Atlantic, what's going on here? The Harry S. Truman. These sailors are out of uniform. Just saying. All right. Vice Admiral Andrew Lewis speaks during his change of command ceremony on board aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman. Is that a different one from the one that was the first female captain on board a nuclear vessel? I think it is different because this is in Norfolk. I think the other one was in San Diego. It just happened at the same time. That's weird. In addition to these major formations not shown, thousands of others are serving in submarines, individual surface craft, aviation squadron, SEALs, and everybody else, basically. All right, very cool. So Harry S. Truman got a new captain. Change of command ceremony. They don't give a lot of details on who the new captain is, though. Anyway, I've been to these. These are kind of boring. It's kind of nice to see the old captain say nice things about the ship and the crew as he goes out. And customarily at a change of command ceremony, the new captain, is it the other way around? I think it's the new captain doesn't say very much. He just says like, welcome, or it could be the other way. Anyway, one of the two captains don't go into a lot of detail is my point. Anyway, let's see what you guys say. The F-22 is still a sexier plane than the F-35B. I agree. The F-22 is a very good looking plane. CK18 says, my third grade teacher, Chris, in the USS Sullivans. Really? Dude, small world, isn't it? Small world. She took over the Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, that's the female captain took over the Abraham Lincoln. So this change of command of the Harry S. Truman clearly was a different ceremony altogether. It's just a little serendipitous that they happened within a week of each other. Yeah. Preston says, I was curious about what was going on over there, and I started talking to the Taliban representatives on Twitter, and from what they're wanting to do, they're planning on selling resources and using the money to promote tourism in the country. After 20 years, they do not wish to fight anyone anymore. I hope that that's what they do. That was the proposal that I had made in my whiteboard video talking about the history of the Taliban. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I really, really hope good things for everyone in that country. It's time for peace, especially for the Afghani people. Kermit says there's currently a Norwegian frigate underway with the Harry S. Truman. Okay. I think this ceremony happened in port, but maybe he's at sea right now. Yeah. Everyone's saying color me skeptical. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Let's not rush to conviction here. Let's just see what actually happens. And then we can talk about it when it happens. Okay. That's what we'll do.